Hey,
Hi, how are you?
good. How are you?
Great. I'm great. It's great that you are finally able to get this together.
I know I'm so happy that we are able to do this. Thank you so much for joining me on here to chat. I'm so impressed with everything you are doing, everything your organization is doing, and I think it's so important to amplify the voices of as many folks like Gen Z people doing amazing stuff that we can. So yeah, so thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, happy to. Thanks for having me.
So we can jump right in. So yeah, why don't we start with you telling us about yourself, about Dream for America, how you kind of got into this work.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So, to everybody who's watching, hello. My name is William He. I'm the founder and CEO at Dream for America. A little bit more about me. So, at 16 years old, I founded Dream for America. I'm the son of immigrant parents, and I first got involved in politics, the Parkland school shootings, just doing phone banks for March 12th. After all, what else did 11, 12, 13-year-olds do back then? But, how old are you, Maria?
I am 23. Parkland actually happened my senior year, and I helped organize the walkout. So I think that was a big, entry point. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. So both of us are Gen Z, so I can say our generation, right? Our for a lot of the other Gen Zers who are watching, our generation is now the generation of school shootings, the generation of not one but two economic crises, and so I think a lot of people are realizing 16, 17, often younger, that getting involved in politics is no longer a choice but a necessity. And that has been a really large driving part of why I'm involved and why I'm part of all the work that I do. But way back when, years back, so I first got involved at Parkland. After that, I did a bunch of volunteering for different Senate campaigns and presidential campaigns. I actually, let's see, what are some? I worked for Senator Ed Markey's primary campaign in Massachusetts back in 2020, and then I did some other presidential candidates. During the height of the George Floyd Black Lives Matter movement, I helped organize some local community events. In 2020, I also helped organize an event in Boston calling for COVID-19 stimulus during COVID-19. Later, I founded another organization called Bread for America. That one is a anti-hunger food security nonprofit that it was a little bit short term, but the work that we'd done was quite impressive. In 3 months, we were able to deliver 10,000 pounds of food to, a couple hundred families in the Boston area. And
Incredible.
fast forward to today, we're here. Dream for America is in existence. We've been working on this project actually for about a year now, but we really didn't get started until a couple months ago. And at the end of the day, I am just really in awe by the organizers and people who have been a part of this movement and many others, because it's really great to see so many, young organizations pop up, to see so many people being involved in young organizing, especially now that 2024 is coming up. We need as many heads together to
Hmm.
all of our resources together and get all of our genius ideas all in one room to make sure that uh, we deliver, you know, a show of force that proves that our generation can be taken seriously. That not only are we serious people, we are going to be the next generation of leaders that people will be looking towards. Not even 5, 10 years from now, but today. Uh, but that's a little bit about me. But yeah.
I love that. That's amazing, and I really agree with what you said. Like, it's almost it's just a matter of privilege to not want to like have to be involved in politics because it's really our lives that are on the line ultimately, and like as we've seen, it's kind of up to us to be fighting for this because who else is gonna, right? Um, so um, yeah, I just really appreciate all the work that you're doing. Like as a Gen Z person, as an American, like it's so important. Um, how did you build your team? You said you've been working on this for like over a year, and you of course had all those amazing accomplishments with Bread for America. Like, what does that look like?
Well, yeah. So it's been a long road and a very tall mountain to climb, and there is still a long road and a very tall mountain to climb. And I don't even like hiking, but but it's how we built the team. Well, it really started out with just, me and a couple of other young organizers in the space, people who I knew. In fact, I think some of them may be here in this room now. Hey, Joanne. But we started out with, just other people who had similar ideas, right? It was at the peak of the midterms, right? We were heading into the fall, and, we were looking at, we saw a lot of, I'm not sure if you know what Turning Point USA is, or if anybody in the audience knows what Turning Point USA is, right? What they are is they are a conservative youth group funded by conservative billionaires, right? Like the Koch brothers and the such, and they funnel millions of dollars each year into indoctrinating and mobilizing a new generation of young conservatives. And so it was at the height of the midterms, and we're, just minding our own business, and, we read the news, and we see all these people, which I'm sure everybody knows who Candace Owens or Ben Shapiro and all these other people are. We were looking at that and like, okay, there is this massive conservative youth organization that is mobilizing millions of people with millions of dollars behind them. What are people doing about it? And there's a lot of great, youth groups out there, pro-democracy, young organizations, but we figured out that there is space for us to offer something new. And so around this time last year, actually, we're heading up on the 1-year anniversary, we decided, all right, let's push the go button and let's try to figure out something here. We spent a couple months, talking to all the organizations that we could, talking to all the, donors and supporters that we can, to figure out really how best we can fit into the ecosystem, how best we can fill in the places and where we can be the most helpful.
Totally.
Then we sort of put everything together around March or April or so, and we, said, okay, let's get started. Let's get this going. Let's make it official. And then around July of this year, we officially debuted as Dream for America. We had a whole launch and everything on the 4th of July. It's kind of sentimental, I guess, with the whole mission. But yeah, and then fast forward today, we have seen a significant amount of growth among our team. We have an amazing, impressive, diverse team. We are currently onboarding hundreds of volunteers from across the country. Our volunteers are also incredibly diverse. Demographics-wise, we have an incredible array of race, gender, sexuality, ideology, religion represented all across the spectrum as part of what we call the Dream Team. In fact, I believe some key highlights: 43% of our team are part of the LGBTQ community, and about 30 to 40% of our team are all from red states, with 13% of our team identifying as conservative, with 30 to 40% as moderate, which means our whole message is about building the most organized and effective progressive grassroots network on campuses across the country, and trying to appeal to people who are not just progressive, but also trying to extend the franchise to people who are, say, disengaged with politics, who might be disillusioned with both parties, or maybe just checked out of the system entirely, or maybe there are some more moderate or conservative people out there who are just really finding everything that Turning Point does and the whole, MAGA movement really distasteful, and want to be part of what we're doing here. But I'm really proud of the team that we've built. We are continuing to build a team. By the fall, we will be debuting dozens of chapters across the country, not just on college campuses, but in high schools, in community colleges, universities, and trade schools, and trying to go on the offense in places where progressives are not in the majority, because that's how you win elections, that's how you build a movement, and that's how you really build progressive staying power, not just for progressive in general, but solidify Gen Z's position as a force, an organizing force to be reckoned with. But hopefully that answers your question.
Definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's just so important, like establishing that kind of pipeline. And of course, like, it's so critical to be talking to people outside of your echo chambers. If you're just preaching to the choir, like, that's not actually going to change anything, right? Yeah, that's just incredible. And that's also one of the first times that I've heard about, establishing these kind of groups at like trade schools and things like that. And community college is so important. I mean, that's just like that's a huge part of, you know, our population. Oh, and the last thing that I want to say about that is I actually remember the day you guys launched because, you know, I hadn't heard of Stream for America before, and then all of a sudden it was like on all my platforms, everywhere I looked is Stream for America, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, what a wonderful idea, what a wonderful organization. Yeah, and I just want to applaud you for all the efforts that you've done to make sure that it's like a diverse group that's leading the fight. It's just so important. And so you kind of already answered this. Your goal is that to like create that pipeline that we're talking about of, you know, the progressive power from all these different places?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so is that, what is your goal? Is that your goal to create that pipeline?
Yes. So what we're all about essentially is offering a progressive alternative to very far right organizations like Turning Point USA.
Mm-hmm.
And what Turning Point USA, the problem with what's going on right now is they have a monopoly on the microphone. Turning Point is a very, very big threat to our democracy. That's something that a lot of people don't really realize, right? They are very well funded. They are funded by ultra-conservative billionaires like the Koch brothers and Harlan Crow, who is under fire for, you know, basically bribing Clarence Thomas and many other Supreme Court justices. And they are focused on pushing radical right-wing politics on high schools and college campuses all across the country. And in every medium too, on online, on every platform, everywhere you see, you'll see Turning Point. This year alone, in the first 6 months, not even the entire year, the first 6 months, they raised over $100 million, them and their affiliated organizations. Now, we don't have $100 million yet.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet. But, you know, it is a gargantuan, colossal, dark force that we're going up against. And they have the might of 4,000 chapters across the country and hundreds of thousands of volunteers. They host these huge conferences every year, and they do. And if you go on Twitter, it's almost like they have one like basically every 2 weeks. But they host these huge conferences, and the people that go to those, they're sort of their annual conference called America Fest. 10,000 people showed up to that. And it's not boomers, it's not old people, it is young people. It is young people 18 to 29 years old. It is people who are young, who are students, no different than you or I or many of the people who are watching. It's people that we go to school with, people who we eat lunch with, people who we sit on the bus with and, you know, see at the grocery store. Those are the people that they're targeting. And they're not even, you know, and the worst part is they're not branding themselves as, you know, this extremist organization. They're trying to sneak in by claiming themselves to be more moderate and to, you know, because they have these sort of, you know, posters that they pass out where it's like they have a check box and they'll have Democrat, Republican, awake. And they sort of just brand themselves like, you know, all of us, you know, we're all Americans. We just care about the country. So come join us and let's fix America. Yeah. And that's a message that appeals to a lot of people. But when people actually go there, they find out, oh my God, this is so not what I signed up for. But part of what is really terrifying about them is they are backed by hundreds of millions of dollars in billionaire special interests, and they are bringing the MAGA movement to our schools. And on top of that, they are putting millions of dollars into electing conservative student governments on all of these campuses. Our organizing director, Josh Martin, he's a great guy, had some personal experience in meeting these challenges on his campus and from and hearing from other students in the area. He knows about it way better than I do, but what they're doing is they're investing a lot of resources into really changing and shaping the culture on a lot of campuses. And as such, they'll give out these grants, you know, conservative student government candidates that they'll support on campus, and they'll try and get them elected, right? Whether that's just, you know, helping them buy posters, you know, social media marketing, getting out the vote for them, right? Those kinds of things. And combined with that and their online organizing presence, the millions of dollars that they have, and the conferences that they do, it is no shock that just a couple days ago, actually, there was a report that came out that says 12th grade boys are now more conservative than ever.
I saw that, yeah.
Young women, roughly the same. It's been roughly flat. It's, you know, still strongly pretty liberal, pretty progressive, but young men who used to vote liberal and progressive, the trend line's going the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, and there is a correlation with that because there was a huge jump around 2016, 2017, which is right around the time that Turning Point, Donald Trump, and all of these people started gaining significant amounts of prominence. So we have to take a look at that and examine why is that? Because they are trying to not shape policy. They don't even have a platform. They, change their beliefs on a whim based on whatever the next sort of culture war issue is. But they're doing something more elemental, which is shifting our culture, right? And they make an active effort to go to progressive places, right? They have chapters in New York. They have like 40, 50 chapters in New York. I'm from Dallas. I lived in Massachusetts and Michigan for a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have people everywhere. And it's no wonder that even if, they're not successful in, getting progressives to support conservatism, having those conversations and putting your message out there still makes a difference. And on top of that, they do a lot of targeted outreach to young women, to African Americans, Latinos, and Asian Americans. And you've seen some effect of that. For example, in New York City, in Queens County, last cycle swung 37 points rightwards from 2018 to 2022. And similar, trends can be found across the board. Hispanics and Asians swung 19 and 36 points from 2018 to 2022. And you'll see an even larger right-wing surge among which is far more noticeable among young men. And so, President Biden is right when he says, we're in the battle for the soul of America, but it's not just for the presidency. It is all across this country. Young voters are going to be our margin of victory in 2024, in 2026, and 2028, and every election beyond that, because by 2036, young voters, Gen Z, millennial, are going to make up 60% of the electorate. Now, that's not to say that, we should be scaring any of the boomers out there. But that's to say that we are a force to be reckoned with, and that it is time to make historic and systemic investments in young people, whether that's electorally, on policy, or just culturally, and, in terms of shaping the conversation. It's time that young people should be treated as the margin of victory, right? Young people have always been the key to driving positive social good. And, the question that we face is, do we want to be America first in fear and hate, or America first in hope and progress, right? Do we want freedom and patriotism to be conservative values or American ones? And so, our slogan is a better world is possible, but because it truly is, but that's only if we choose to invest in students and invest in their future.
Mm-hmm. So, say you're a young activist, you care about all these things that you're talking about. You want to get involved, you have progressive values, etc. How do you do it? What's your first step?
Well, with us or just in general?
I guess both.
Okay. Well, with us, I'll start with that one. With us, how you can get involved with Dream from America. With the 8 people that are on this right now, here's how you can get involved. There are a lot of ways to get involved, in fact. First, at the forefront is sign up, get involved, volunteer, start a chapter, our national, whatever it is you're interested in. Come on board. We have a philosophy that you will find a place for everyone. They're not, when you apply, when you put your name, we're going to find a place for you, because that is what movement building is all about, right? Everybody has value, everybody has a purpose, and everybody can make a difference. And that's, at Dream for Mary, that's what we're all about. And so I encourage anybody and everybody who's watching right now or after, best way to get involved with us is to volunteer. Go to dreamforamerica.org, press get involved, and sign up. You can start a chapter, you can join a national team, whatever it is you want to do, we will support you to make that happen. And I can tell you the team is very fun. There are a lot of Taylor Swift fans
Love.
in the we've been sending August now. There's also quite a number of people who send memes at 2 a.m. So if anybody's into that, come on board. But we're a very fun bunch. It's a very welcoming place, and it's a very diverse place. And we make sure that everybody's heard, and we make sure that everybody has a place to get involved and be organized, because that is how you not only appeal to progressives who are already involved in politics or are all like political junkies on Twitter, but that is also how you bring in people who maybe are kind of iffy about politics who maybe are not that engaged, who may be thinking, oh, both parties suck, right? But that actually leads to the broader point of how to get involved in general. It's so important for people to get involved in general as well, because our democracy is on the line, because this really is an elemental choice. By sitting out of the process because you think your elected representatives maybe failed on one or two issues, that just isn't acceptable. There will always be a lesser of two evils, no matter how good the candidate is. There will always be somebody who's better than the other and more aligns with your values. And you can't check out of the entire system because one or two promises were not fulfilled, right? And most importantly, democracy depends on you. And the best way to be the change you want to see is to be the change you want to see. The best way to see change is to be the change. And that sounds cliche and everything, but really mean it. And it's not just voting too. I mean, yes, you should vote and you should get registered, which, by the way, everybody should get registered. If you live in Kentucky, Louisiana, or Mississippi, or any other local elections that are happening in 3 months, get registered to vote. If you live in Tennessee today, make sure to vote. There are 2 Gen Z candidates or very young candidates on the ballot, part of the Tennessee 3, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. Shout out to them. They're on the ballot tonight. Make sure to get out and vote for them if you live in their districts. But it's not just about getting out to vote, but it's also about getting involved and just being a part of the conversation, because just knowing what's going on and knowing how things impact you is really important. And everybody thinks politics is just, the presidential election. No, politics is everything. It is local elections. Everything in your life, it's politics. The buses and trains you ride to get to work, your local city officials, they're the ones who make that happen. The Ubers and local coffee shops you purchase and pay money for, government regulations make sure that they're serving you good food, and all of these things are really important. So I would say, just to summarize, I'm a debate kid. I give so many long-winded speeches. So to summarize for everybody out there, best way to get involved with Dream for America, go to our website, dreamforamerica.org, get involved. And the best way to get involved in general is just stay engaged, pay attention, volunteer where you can, support the people you want to support, and make sure to vote, and make sure to get out there and support the people you want to support. Or even if you want to take that leap of faith, go run for office yourself. You think you can do the job and you have good ideas, go out there and do it yourself. A lot of people think politics is a really dark place, and in some cases it is, but there are a lot of people out there who are really working to truly make government work for everybody. And the best way to make sure that your ideas are heard and that you fulfill the vision that you want to achieve for our country, volunteer, go vote, get involved, stay engaged, pay attention, maybe even run for office. Maybe you'll be the next president. You never know, right? So why not take that and go out
They could
there?
be on this live right now. We don't know.
Exactly. So for the 7 people who are here, you guys, next president, call me up and let me know, and we'll work something out. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's the best way to get involved. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for that that very thoughtful answer. I think that's all that we have time for today. Again, thank you so much for your time, for all the work that you're putting in. It's so clear that this means a lot to you. And it makes me very happy to think that we have folks like you, fighting a good fight. Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching now and the future. Awesome. Oh, and one last plug. We're sending our petition to Pete Buttigieg, President Biden, and NHTSA Acting Administrator Ann Carlson. Tomorrow we're at over 15,000 signatures now. Would love to see 20. So yeah, sign, share. Thank you again. So nice talking with you. And thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.